So be it, Jedi. He's no good to me dead.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
You know what's going on?
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Star Wars After Hours. This is a very special episode. We have our first out-of-house guest today.
Yeah.
But first, I am Stefan Spallino. Gentlemen, please state your name for the record.
I'm Josh Combs.
And I'm Dale Wentland.
Yes, Dale Wentland, our first guest here.
Woohoo.
Now, Dale does a podcast, Network 1901. He's on the D-Cast. He's on Disney Culture Club. He has a YouTube channel. You want to plug those for us, Dale?
Yeah, you did an amazing job. Yeah, YouTube channel is Network 1901. And we do 3 videos a week. The Monday show is Disney Culture Club, and it's basically Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar news rundown show. We talk about culture and other podcasts, what's happening on YouTube, what's happening on our network. And then Wednesdays there's like a culture video, like a theory or a Disney bound. And then Fridays, Josh is at Disneyland, and he tells you some facts or a history, or he went on a hilarious anti-Valentine's date with his wife, and it was it was pretty funny. So
Was that the one on YouTube?
Yeah,
that Valentine's at Disneyland.
The Valentine's. I think people aren't clicking on it because like, I don't want to see some romance thing, and it's just like him being this bad boyfriend the entire time. It's hilarious.
That's really funny.
And then the podcast feed is Network 1901, and there's 3 different Disney culture shows on that. So again, Disney Culture Club, and then Modern Mouse Radio, which does like introspectives like Disney and the gay community, or Disney and racism, and all that type of stuff. So not always so heavy as those
always
two.
Just that.
Not always so heavy as those two. And then on Fridays we have a rotating show. So like we'll do series. So we've done The World That Never Was, which Josh goes and talks about failed Disney projects. We do Explain This Book to Me, where Shannon reads like young adult novels and explains them to me. And she doesn't read them to me on air. She explains it to me after. It's like for someone who doesn't have time to read, so you want the summary, but like a really detailed version of it. She explains the books. Awesome. It's really awesome. And then I'm doing Discovering Star Wars, which I have a friend who had never seen Star Wars before, but he's like a film writer and he went to film school. And so we watched.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How do you not see Star Wars in your film school? It's insane to me.
Yeah, I know. So he then, so we decided that we're going to watch them chronologically to see if it makes it more enjoyable. And so the very first episode, you can choose to listen to it or not, but it's basically just kind of getting his baseline knowledge of Star Wars through pop culture. And so we can just understand how much he knows and how little he knows. And then the second episode, he watches episode 1, and then we talk about it. And he talks about his experience watching episode 1 and not really knowing anything about Star Wars. And he even after Revenge of the Sith, he watched Rogue One before he saw A New Hope.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Actually, my girlfriend's sister, her boyfriend had never seen any of the Star Wars movies, and the first one he'd ever seen was Rogue One. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch the rest of these."
It's not like,
go to 4, go 4, 5, 6.
See, I know. On Reddit, people like were flipping out on Reddit about. They were like, "You're gonna go chronological? That's insane." And then we're just like, well, the whole point is that people don't do it, so we are using him as a test subject to do it, and then you can listen and not have to experience what he experiences. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And also most of us can't experience that, right? Like most of us, our Star Wars background is totally different. We've been thinking about Star Wars for 20 years and obsess over so many little details, and we know it in a different way than new people do.
Oh yeah,
right.
Definitely.
So you have a YouTube channel too. What's your handle there?
Well, I'm at Dale Wentland everywhere, but our YouTube channel is Network 1901.
Oh, Network 1901?
Yeah, so Network 1901 is like their podcast network and the YouTube channel. But they have different shows throughout it.
Yeah.
So
think of it like
I've seen
it like
some of your theory crafting, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe he has his own. That's why I didn't.
You think of it like ABC, right? ABC is Network 1901, and then we have a bunch of shows and different forms of media and different mediums to tell the different shows.
Got you. Okay. So we did this in our first episode, but why don't you tell everybody kind of like how you got into Star Wars and some things that you love about Star Wars?
Yeah. The first time I ever, and I just recently remembered this too, was the first time I ever saw Star Wars. I was at HMV, which is a music store that doesn't exist anymore. Like they're all closing down as of next month. And anyway, so we walk in, and I walked up to this. It was this black VHS collection, and I think it was the first time they had been re-released in a while. And it was, it was like Darth Vader, Yoda, and a stormtrooper on the side of these VHS tapes. If you Google Star Wars VHS, that's probably the one you'll see.
Is that the black ones with the red, the Fox logo?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I have that set.
Yeah, so and I just remember, and in those ones they had like an introduction with George Lucas in the beginning before you watch the movie. There was like this, like, hi, I'm George Lucas, and I made Star Wars, and I'm gonna tell you about more Star Wars. And the cool thing was at Return of the Jedi, when you watch the VHS set in the before Return of the Jedi, he's like, and so we're making new Star Wars movies, and we're they're gonna be before though. It's gonna be great. We're gonna explain about what happens. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, I need these. Like, I need them so much. And, that was like probably 94, 95, I think, so. Yeah. And it didn't have to wait too long for Phantom Menace. But then the people who had to wait for a long time for Phantom Menace, like the people who saw Return of the Jedi in theaters, I always felt bad for those people because it probably would have been a big disappointment. Yeah. That's kind of my thing. And then I just started buying Star Wars toys, played like, obviously, did you ever have a Nintendo 64 and play?
Of course, yeah. All of them.
Yeah.
Every single Star Wars game.
Yeah. And it was so good for it, right? Pod Racer.
Oh, yeah.
And my favorite was, what was the one with Dash Rendar?
Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire. That's right. Yeah, Shadows of the Empire.
And then Rogue Squadron. That was a good one.
Rogue Squadron was great.
I love the ones for the NES and the Super NES too. There's some Star Wars games for those that are pretty awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. The Shadows of the Empire and introducing just like it was because it was really the first time a Star Wars game had showed us other parts of the universe. Like there's like, there's other bad guy types, and
there and
and like more bunch of bounty hunters and stuff like that. Yeah, like anyone who loves IG-88 is like they must have played Shadows of the Empire because there's no other reason to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't even get why people love Boba Fett. So it just.
Ooh, that's a tough subject here.
I'm a big Boba Fett guy, man.
No, of course you are. Sure, he was told no disintegrations. But like that's
pretty much it.
That's it. That was his. And Boba Fett, where?
But that's one of the things that I love
Coolest
about Star Wars.
Man.
Though,
Coolest character.
We have these characters that. Boba Fett has like 2 or 3 lines, and then we have this entire rich like backstory of just that it goes so deep into everything and like fleshes out his character in comics, and that's one of the things I love about Star Wars is just how vast the universe is.
I've been having an argument with my friend. It's the first podcast of mine that he really has listened to, which is nice because our other friend's on it, so it just means he's listening to it for our other friend.
Just for him.
And, no, he's right, so it's Discovering Star Wars, so he's listening to it, and he keeps trying to argue with me, like, because I say that Darth Vader isn't controlled by his emotions, right? Darth Vader, he has one emotion, hatred. The Emperor utilizes that. He's really in control of his emotions, being in the castle. meditating and being in the Bacta tank is all about controlling his emotions, right?
Yeah.
And just because he has to control them, you can still say like he doesn't use his emotions, right? Like there's like a Vulcan. Vulcans feel emotions, but they have to control them, and you wouldn't say they have emotions. So Darth Vader has
kind of like Thrawn too.
Yeah.
Like how Thrawn has almost no emotion whatsoever.
No. And then. But then the introduction of Luke is what makes him start feeling different things that he hasn't felt for the last 16 years because he thought he killed everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just keeps, and he's like, no, he's super emotional. Look at this decision. Like, and I'm like, Anakin was emotional. He was so emotional that he easily fell and committed genocide on many occasions. But then Darth Vader is like, that was a huge weakness. I'm not going to do that again. And I'm just going to feel hatred all the time because it makes me powerful. So, and this is my history of Star Wars.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. I had to take us back to today, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It's from childhood to present. Yeah. So
I've actually.
Oh,
go ahead.
I watched your Snoke is.
Oh yeah.
Snoke is.
Yeah. Darth Vader is Rey's
Snoke
brother.
Snoke is Plagueis basically, and Darth Vader's Rey's brother.
Because,
we just did an 8-9 predictions episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna air next week. We're putting this one out on Wednesday, and we're gonna do an entire 2-parter. I think it's gonna be a 2-parter on Plagueis because we're gonna really flesh him out. That's one of my favorite characters. But the thing that I appreciated about your video is you kind of the thing that I never noticed is in the conversation that Anakin's having with Palpatine, that point that he looks at him and says that Plagueis could use midichlorians to create life.
Mm-hmm.
And when now this entire time until I saw your video, I thought that maybe that was somehow Palpatine maybe knew about Anakin's visions of Padme, and he was kind of playing to that, like, you could, keep her from dying if you.
He was being like, you can stop life so much you can create it.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And I never thought about that angle. That was like, wink, wink. Your dad's Plagueis.
Yeah. 100%. Like, I think even if the theory is wrong that Darth Vader and Rey are brother and sister, I kind of, in a way, through the research, came across this, like, oh yeah, who's Anakin's dad really? Because Immaculate Conception isn't actually an answer in the Star Wars universe. I'm not going to get in an argument about whether it's an explanation in other universes, but in this universe, it doesn't seem like that's the case. They even then scientifically could explain the Force.
The only known case.
Yeah, exactly. So that sounds like that doesn't happen. But that guy over there who was doing exposition and a character backstory, so he's telling mostly the truth, is saying that this guy could create life with the midichlorians, and you're like, who better than some slave woman, right? Like, and how old is Anakin when we first meet him, and how long has if you think about it, it's not like Palpatine had been on Naboo probably his whole life. He was probably there for like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Like, he comes from Naboo, but to work his way into that position, I mean, because he does seem like an upstart. Like, he seems so motivated. And he does seem younger than the rest of the people. He would have been newly in that position. He wouldn't have been there for super long. So he was probably with Plagueis doing his own thing, and then he's like, okay, I have a plan now how to take over, and I'm going to use this really respectable queen and all that jazz, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
so
it just works.
There's another interesting one, too, that I thought about after reading Shattered Empire, and I also, after that, I saw your the Kessel Run. Yeah. And, you talking about that, and that was pretty cool, kind of going into that, and then... going into the Force trees and Poe. Yeah. It's basically all about, Shara. Yeah. It's Poe's mother. Yeah. And so...
Yeah, and it follows her, and then he's born and grows up tending a Force tree, that Luke Skywalker gave him. So he has to be imbued with the Force. Like, look at the way he flies his X-Wing. And he can survive an exploding TIE fighter. I know Finn survived one too, but there was an explanation for him. He's not just back at base like, hey, buddy, how's it going?
But the question is like, originally they were going to kill off.
Yeah.
Oh, but at what point did they decide to expand the character within Shattered Empire, and when did they, why did they put that in there if he was just going to die?
Yeah, he's not like, here's the thing, like Finn could be paralyzed from the waist down. We have no idea. Like Finn is not like true. Finn is basically in carbonite right now. Okay. Yeah. Everything that happened in Force Awakens happened in every other Star Wars film. That's why Force Awakens is so great, because it's all of Star Wars in one.
It's a giant mashup, yeah.
Like, and like people get mad and they're like, oh, it's too similar and stuff. But okay, they failed their mission. They were turning around and they couldn't do it, but because the heroes were on the ground, they were able to create enough of an opening. Like, who could have flown through that other than a Jedi, right? Who could have, other than a Jedi, who could have done that? So he's not at least a Jedi, but like and then Maz Kanata, she kind of is the first person to really be like, I know the Force, and it's like, oh, non-Jedi people use the Force, and that no one had really kind of said that to anybody. So I don't remember what I was talking about, but Force Awakens is great, everybody.
That's how this show kind of goes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is our show. We just talk about stuff we like.
I get just too excited about it, and you're talking about. Oh, I remember. Yeah. So yeah, Poe Dameron. Yeah, he's totally Force sensitive, and I kind of I came across it just by doing the research of it and doing the video, and then actually there was one of the ones that I always didn't understand why that it didn't take off as much as say like the Darth Vader one and stuff, and Super Carlin Brothers helped me out with that by making a video all about that theory. Was I did one that Captain Phasma as a spy like a year ago.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Yeah, and it was almost like, because I kind of feel like I was I can't remember his name. Oh no, that rarely happens to me, and it's really stupid. It's Batman from The Dark Knight.
Wait, Batman from The Dark
Knight,
the
Batman.
actor?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Christian
Bale. I could not remember Christian Bale. All I could every time I kept thinking about him, I was just thinking about him yelling at that DP.
It's a great recording.
Yeah, it is a great one. I felt like Christian Bale in The Prestige, in the sense with the Captain Phasma as a spy, because there was I had no show to it. It was just kind of like, Captain Phasma is obviously a spy. Here's why, and then it was like, yeah, see, and it's like, oh, yeah, okay. You're just kind of like, yeah, it makes sense. I wasn't really thinking about that, but I guess that's something that you could say.
I mean, I could totally buy that one, though. And I watched that one. And again, you pick up on the little intricacies of the characters, how she puts up no resistance, and she's kind of like, this is, you guys are, I don't know, you're probably making a mistake here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where do you like, logically, I mean, after she just drops the shields like that, where do you take that character in the First Order? Like,
oh yeah,
people,
that's the thing.
People are gonna be pissed when they find out about that.
Yeah. And Leia, Leia at that time too gets handed a piece of information that we don't know where it comes from, and so, who could have, and it's from Starkiller Base, and they know what's happening.
That's the scene, right?
Yeah, and she gives like Finn every opportunity, and just even the way she delivers her dialogue, it's always more cautionary than it is. Like, I never felt like she was being mean to him or over commanding. I didn't feel like he was being micromanaged. I felt like she was being like, "Who told you to take off your helmet?" Like,
Yeah,
like,
she was being military.
Yeah, she was sticking. She's
commander.
In storytelling, you always have like the spy be the person who sticks to the rules the most, because they're the least likely, right? Like, that would be the best spy, is the person who follows every rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about the Kylo Ren double agent theory?
Oh,
I didn't buy it at all. Yeah, I actually hated it.
So, because my whole thing is with Kylo Ren, like, he's obviously the most powerful person we've ever seen on screen as a Jedi. And anyone who wants to argue it, there's no point, because just watch the movies and then you'll see that Kylo Ren is the strongest. No one stops energy
Oh,
no
yeah.
no one freezes people and drags them to them. No one does anything that Kylo Ren does. Kylo Ren's lightsaber is being only kept together by the Force. Like, he is just like, it's broken and it's in pieces, and when you really look at it, it's not supposed to work. It's a broken lightsaber, and that's why it has the and it skizzles more and stuff like that. It's because he holds it together with the Force. He's like just like trying. He's such a tryhard, right? His whole thing is he's a tryhard.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, but what he doesn't have is he doesn't have jealousy. So, and that's like, that jealousy is such a big part of the downfall. And so what's going to happen is that I think the whole reason why he turned on Luke was because Luke was communicating with the ghosts, the Force ghosts, because we know that they can come to Luke, and he didn't let Kylo talk to them. He always held that from Kylo, and Kylo wanted to talk to Anakin. And Hayden Christensen's going to return to the series, and he's going to be a Force ghost. And what is going to create jealousy is that the jealousy is going to be that Rey gets to talk to Anakin. And that's going to create the jealousy that they kind of plant in Kylo Ren in the beginning when he's like, "What girl?" And he kind of says it in a way like either he knows there was a girl there that they didn't want to have involved, or he knows of some sort of like story, or he was given some sort of foresight, and the only thing that could ruin the premonition was a girl. You know what I mean? Like, right, like something like that. And so just adding jealousy to his downfall.
So, yeah, like I said, I hated the double agent theory. But what are your thoughts on it sounds like you don't see a redemption arc. You see him getting the final piece he needs, the jealousy for his downfall, and kind of completing that path. He
committed almost as many genocides as Darth Vader did in one movie already, so that's kind of tough. Right, like how many planets did they blow up? 4 planets, so that's a lot. They blew up an entire solar system. Okay, like the entire but like a populated solar system. Right? Like imagine our whole solar system was full of populated planets, and they just were like, boom.
That was basically the capital.
And like
got destroyed. But it was at that time. It's I guess it's a rotating capital. And so it's a little different. It's not like destroying Coruscant. It's because they can kind of move.
It's still killing like 30 billion creatures at least, probably.
Yeah, the
people.
Many deads.
Like yes, all the deads.
All the dead.
Obi-Wan would have really quivered. He would have been like, "Whoa, that was a really big silence."
So going back to Shattered Empire, thinking about that, how did you feel about Leia feeling Maul on Naboo? She kind of says like it feels cold, and then it overlays Maul's face over that. That cell.
I don't know. I like everything that Rebels is doing. Like, that's a tough one. Like, because how sensitive do you make Princess Leia? You know, because I feel like in Rebels they want to make her way more Force sensitive than she plays it in the movies.
Yeah, and then what is she going to be in 8? You know, because she's playing such a huge role in 8, and was supposed to play such a huge role in 9. I'm wondering if any of that has to do with her harnessing more Force powers, like, you know, after in like some of the novels, the Timothy Zahn novels, you see like her using like pyrokinesis, where she lights candles with the Force, which obviously it's not canon, but you know, would they ever bring something like that back where she can actually use some type of Force that either no one else can or that no one would expect of her?
Oh, I don't know if we want to see Carrie Fisher using like pyromancy. You know, like
exactly.
No, I think it's important for Princess Leia as a character to be strong just for who she is without the Force. Like, Luke was a nobody before he got the Force, but Princess Leia was already somebody. She was already working on a rebellion, all with just no knowledge of anything, just with her opportunity she was given, right? she's like a carpe diem, seize the day, like I gotta do this. Where Luke was always like, oh, I gotta get off this planet, like just like a dreamer. And so I think it's important to keep her that way. Like I think like make her sensitive. She can feel that the guy she kissed was her brother and stuff. And
yeah,
like,
do you think we'll see her with a blaster in 8?
In action.
A blaster.
Yeah, she does use a blaster well in Jedi, but
she definitely does.
Yeah. She seems more like, I feel like there'd be a different type of weapon for her. Because she's probably leading the charge, because she leads the charge. It'd be funny if she still used. That's what you would do. You give her the old stormtrooper blaster that she had.
That'd be awesome. That'd be so sick. She just kept it.
She just kept it. Like, and it's like, where was it in the rest of the movie?
I feel like we've had so many opportunities to go down the, Leia displaying her force sensitivity path that it doesn't make sense to just jump into it now.
Yeah.
I think at this point we're probably not going to see that on film.
Yeah, I think if anything, she can. I mean, obviously she can read emotions, but I'm wondering if she can be stronger at reading people's thoughts. That would be one thing that might be
or
something.
Persuasion. She must have persuasion, right? She's kind of aggro, but you still listen to her. You're like, oh, all right, well, sure, like whatever.
And I mean, just how she talks to Tarkin, both in, like Rebels and in
she's like what, 18, 17 years old, and she's like, whatever, dude, like out of my face. And he's like,
he doesn't do anything.
His breath probably smells like poison or something, just coffee breath, and never brushes his teeth. He just is that. He's such a such a great villain, but it's okay. So I'm sure people are listening to your show right now, and they're like, I'm still upset about the whole Kylo Ren being the strongest Jedi we've ever seen before, because you just were like, this is canon and you must accept it. Okay, one of the things that, because people, I know, they complain about Kylo Ren, they think whatever, right? But he's supposed to be he's supposed to be trying to be Anakin. But he's not. But the cool thing about Kylo Ren is he takes a bowcaster in the gut and doesn't even fall to one knee. Okay,
that blows away those like 2 or 3 stormtroopers.
Like stormtroopers are blowing up when a bowcaster, like they take a beat to be like, what a great gun. Like a couple times, Han Solo comments on the bowcaster more than once in the film. They use that item and they build it up to be a very powerful item, and they use it to shoot the villain, and it doesn't bring him down to one knee. He almost goes down to one knee, but he doesn't. Then he goes and he runs.
He's a bad dude.
Everyone complains, like, how could Rey beat him? How how did she could fight? The guy got shot in the gut by a grenade launcher. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
He took a whole grenade launcher to the gut and then ran after them, and then didn't quite win the battle. Like it is. Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that even that pain wasn't enough for him to harness the dark side. Like he was like punching himself in his wound so that he could harness the dark side, and
he was wanting to use pain. Yeah, he was wanting to use pain to keep him more focused. He's so strong, and the thing I like about his strength too is, unlike Darth Vader, the one thing to notice about Kylo Ren is they had him spaz out on equipment all the time, as opposed to killing his soldiers. He doesn't kill people. He doesn't kill the people around him. He beats up on machinery. And like where Darth Vader's choking everybody all the time.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren is trying to be like Darth Vader again. Like we know this. And the thing about him is he doesn't kill people around him.
Yeah, he can't do it.
And you can argue that General Hux was more involved with blowing up all those planets than Kylo Ren is. They're kind of protecting him in a sense, and that's why I do feel like there will be a redemption to some sort of extent.
Because he has enough light side in him that's pulling at him constantly, and also, it's the same type of thing with Luke, how he's kind of gray. In the Return of the Jedi, he's using force choke and stuff. What's supposed to be dark side moves. And if you can kind of harness both the dark side and the light side, kind of like Ezra and Rebels, how he's kind of playing around with that too. it seems like it does make a very powerful but very unstable person.
That's why you have an entire Knights of Ren, an entire group of people bail on their teacher because he was trying to teach them gray Jedi ways. And it just was like the whole thing, and it's from in the novels too, they did it. So it kind of comes from it where Luke he made a ton of Jedis. He really recreated the temple and Riddigog, but there was a lot more dark Jedis now because he taught everyone gray. Everyone was kind of neutral-ish, and their leanings changed. So I think that what he's doing is that when the Knights of Ren turned on him, he was like, I've got to rethink this. Like being a Jedi, what did he know really about being a Jedi? Like, how much time did he spend with Yoda? He needed to go do the stuff that Jedi do, which is like meditate and be alone and become wise. And because he was probably just teaching them like aggro, aggressive fighting all the time. And, like, this is how I beat my dad up. And, so like so he goes and he learns the very beginnings of Jedi. Like, he goes and learns the old ways. He's at the first place. He's praying with a Force-sensitive tree, meditating, if it makes you feel more comfortable, with a Force-sensitive tree. And, that's what he's doing. And that's why I think you're going to have the Avatar scenario where Rey will train with every Ghost Jedi. I think you're going to have Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin, Yoda, and they're going to teach her the ways, kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Korra, The Legend of Korra. So,
and Mulan.
And they were like, where were all the other spirits? Why didn't you get more spirits to help her
they
out?
could have helped her out.
Like, why did they have to send the worst one? It seemed kind of important.
Yeah, it's true.
So if we do go the redemption arc, though, I think they have to do it. I mean, that change has to take place pretty quick, I feel like, so it doesn't completely mirror, Vader at the end throwing Emperor Palpatine away, and then just being a good guy again.
Yeah.
I think though that Rey is still going to turn too, though. I do think that having a character that you connect with and love so much, specifically making it like a girl character, was really important for that. And then surrounding her with other lovable characters that they just have such great chemistry immediately. In your first episode, your second episode, you're going to develop that chemistry, hopefully. To have her be the one, that's your Jar Jar Binks, if you will. That's that's truly your unexpected dark turn. Because there has to be a twist or a turn somewhere in the.
Yeah, I mean, if done right, that could be heartbreaking, man. Ray going baddie on us.
From the moment we see her, like do 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 do, right, as soon as those goggles come, you're just like, I love this character.
There's a few things that I thought about. That, number one, Benicio del Toro could be her father, and he could be a dark side user or a member of the Sith that's still holding out against the First Order. So it's going to be kind of a three-way battle, Jedi, First Order, and the Sith.
If they don't take advantage of Benicio del Toro's bad guy acting chops, I'm going to be very disappointed. Did you see Cesario?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The ending scene?
Yeah.
Where, dude, that guy is menacing if you put him in the right setting, straight up. That is a bad dude. They could do something really cool with him.
He's so talented, and I know some people think he's going to be Ezra Bridger, which is a funny one. I
like that one.
The weird thing is, though, Daisy Ridley said, after I read the script, when I think of Force Awakens, it's so obvious who my parents are, and they were just like, because you don't say anything. Why did you say that? That confuses my brain. Yeah.
And then especially because Maz says the people you are waiting for are never coming back.
Yeah.
She doesn't say anything about her parents.
Exactly.
She's just saying who she's waiting for.
Yeah.
Another thing about
who she's waiting for is definitely not who is going to come, is the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then another thing with Rey's theme. Yeah. Hey, there
Please.
you go. with Rey's
she's
theme.
she's the reincarnation of Anakin. Like again, plays into the jealousy, right? Like she even has Anakin's Force abilities.
Real quick, the only legitimate, I think, argument I've heard like against the whole Plagueis thing is the payoff for people that weren't like total Star Wars nerds. In the theater, it'd be like, oh my gosh, it's Plagueis, and everybody'd be like, who?
Yeah,
Who's
no
that?
one else would care.
The guy from
One Mention.
Dialogue in episode 3. Like, if I saw that, I would be so stoked. I'd be like totally enthralled and so happy.
Yeah.
And then, but if I took my mom to see that, she'd be like, "What's a Plagueis?"
Here's the thing: it doesn't have to be Darth Plagueis. You can have Snoke trying to recreate what Plagueis created. So, like, the only connection is that Snoke knew of Plagueis. He knew he created Darth Vader by, like having a child grow up as a slave with these immense force powers and blah 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 blah. Right? Like, there was a way to do it. And so you could just have Snoke know that in the background. It's probably wouldn't be mentioned in film because that'd be weird exposition. And, I don't even know how you'd do like flashback to Revenge of the Sith. Could you imagine? Like a Revenge of the Sith clip in the middle of a Star Wars movie? Like, oh, God.
Yeah, they just cut. And then Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Cut back.
But I don't know, like... I don't know. They're going to have something in store for us. It's just there's a million different. The thing is though with Rey, she has all of Anakin's abilities and has Anakin's upbringing. Like not even Luke had that. Luke had his aunt and uncle. You know, he didn't. He had a family. You know, Rey and Anakin are more the same. Anakin's lightsaber is even goes to her. You know, because Kylo Ren, if you look, Kylo Ren calls the lightsaber over, and then it goes to Rey.
Mm-hmm. And he can do that in the Force. Obviously, he's way stronger in the Force at that time.
We get so many little connections that I feel like it's way too many to be happenstance. I mean, we get the Plagueis staff basically is her staff.
Exactly.
Yeah, we get her similarity to Anakin. It's like every step of the way. The desert, even as far as the desert planet, pretty much. We get the music, the Snoke theme, and the Plagueis opera theme. It's way too many little connections.
It isn't quite exactly the same, but it's similar.
It's similar. Yeah. But have you heard the Rey's theme? If you can match it up to the Imperial March. And there's some parts that you can that will slow down and some parts that are backwards that actually do.
Oh, we're going deep now, dude.
No, you know what though? I don't think that's deep.
Same guy that's doing it.
If John Williams, that's every single movie John Williams made was a variation of one, like of how many notes, you know, like how many experiences. Like if you play Superman, people get it confused with Indiana Jones all the time. If you play Back to the Future, they get it confused with Indiana Jones. If you play Jurassic Park, sometimes people get confused with Star Wars. You know, like, and it's. I play this song game with my kids, and if I want to trip them up, I just start playing John Williams, and they're like, So like it's it's.
Yeah, you never know, but I know that
Danny Elfman's like that as well, right?
Yeah,
that's a good way to explain it.
But I know, both Danny Elfman and John Williams like to tell stories within the soundtrack, not just within one track, but throughout the entire film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they like to use leitmotif.
Yeah, and so, obviously in Rogue One with Michael Giacchino, we heard, just the little parts from John Williams come through, because he was pretty close with John Williams, I guess.
Michael Giacchino partnered, was working alongside him for periods of time during The Force Awakens, because Michael Giacchino is supposed to be the person who takes over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'd be good. But it's just like those little things that kind of allude to a story that's on screen.
Yeah.
But even not on screen, if you look through the music, it tells a story.
Well,
But-
John Williams is so literal with his titles.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
yeah, like
Yeah.
what was it? The death of Qui-Gon or something like that.
exactly.
It was like,
Yeah.
dude, the OST comes out before the movie.
Yeah, don't tell me that.
Yeah. I don't know, who let him name that? Like, couldn't
Yeah.
they tell him like you can't call it that?
Like I write notes, not names.
Yeah.
But really, there is parts that, I mean, it sounds stupid, but there's parts that you can slow down, play backwards, anything like that, and it's uncanny.
No,
I'll post things for
Yeah.
people who are listening. I'll post like the links on that to kind of give people a shout out of who I heard that from.
I am now regretting not having you on for our 8 and 9 predictions episode.
Yeah.
Because we could probably go on for
Yeah.
a very long time about this.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd have to make movies about it and talk once a week about it all the time, right? So, like,
That's very true. But
So should we get into Star Wars Land?
yeah, so I thought that, since you are a Disney guy,
you say it. Yeah.
Well, see,
you say it like I recently came out or something like that. Like, I know you're a Disney guy. It's okay.
see, I'm a huge Disney guy
I know.
also. I have Walt Disney tattooed on my leg. I have the
Okay, that's too much. I gotta go. Sorry.
I have the Wed Imagineering D on my arm tattooed. So
That's
I'm pretty into Disney as well, and I kind of
You committed in a different way than I did, but yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I
It's all
look
my
through.
body, man.
It's all my body
Yeah.
till death, bro.
Well, Disney's such a huge. Disney and Star Wars have always been connected for such a long time, and yeah, like there was a period of time where like I'm like, oh, I don't watch Disney movies or whatever, but then I got out of high school and was like, why don't I watch those Disney movies? Those are great.
Yeah, exactly. I went back. It was a long time. Like, I think I watched Pinocchio. Like the last time I had watched it before this time that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I was probably like 10.
Yeah.
And then I watched it again with my niece, and now it's like I'm 25.
And it's so good to watch it. Yeah, it's so good to watch it as an adult.
Yeah, and it's way more powerful than I thought that it was when I was a kid.
It's not. Yeah, like it's first off, it can be hilarious how inappropriate it is at times, which is enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it's just to watch it again as an adult is a different experience. So I recommend if you love Star Wars still, you should probably watch a Disney movie that you hadn't seen in like 20 years or 10 years, and you'll be really happy you did.
Yeah, definitely.
So Star Wars Land, I kind of wanted to like almost surprise myself. I wanted to go in kind of blind and just experience it. But since I'm doing a Star Wars podcast now, it's probably time to get over myself. And, the only thing I really know about it is that there's supposed to be a cantina, kind of like the New Hope cantina, and that's it. That's all I know. I don't. That's it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything else about it.
That's it. It's just a cantina. You can go. You sit down.
That's cool for
Harrison
me.
Ford stands in the corner. Hi.
Just all day. He's
Yeah,
there.
just all day.
That'd be so much money. That's where that $3 billion went.
Yeah.
Just a cantina and 14 acres of dirt and Harrison Ford.
So what do we know about it so far? Because I don't know anything. I'm going in blind.
You don't know anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll just read like just a quick little introduction for the people who don't know anything about Disneyland and their Star Wars expansion. So it is somewhat news that it's now official that it releases in 2019. I mean, that was kind of like already something that people had been talking about.
Yeah.
But
They looked at the dirt hole and were like, this is going to take a while.
Exactly.
So they're taking out Frontierland, right?
It's
no?
the top. Yeah, it's the top end. They took out a bunch of area like where the like maintenance buildings and where they kept the horses and the animals and stuff, and they're moving them off site. So they took out it's a huge portion. So it's going to be
14 acres.
14 acres.
Okay.
It's the largest
Expansion in Disney. It'll be the largest land of all the lands of Disneyland.
Yeah, see, I thought they were replacing Frontierland with Star Wars Land.
No, they're going Harry Potter on this.
So
that's basically like that's a good way to, if you're wondering what Star Wars Land will be like, Harry Potter World is the best way to kind of
Yeah, it's pretty close especially because it's being headed up by Scott Trowbridge. He was the same guy that, headed up the basically creative direction of the, Harry Potter Wizard in Florida when that first started. So just for people who don't know, basically Star Wars Land is a Star Wars themed land that's currently and unofficially referred to as Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
Which they've also said it was the Star Wars experience, but that does not roll tongue at all. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the Star Wars experience over there. Meet me in Frontierland later.
Well, because like the Universal Studios is what, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Yeah, and then we have like the Avatar, Pandora, the world of Avatar.
Yeah, so they won't go Star Wars Land.
Yeah, but do you think they're gonna say what brand new planet name the world of Star Wars?
I don't know. Do you even have, I guess you have to have the name Star Wars in it? Couldn't you just call it like Outer Rim?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
You know what I mean? Because there's Tomorrowland, there's like Toontown and Adventureland and New Orleans Square and that stuff, and like Main Street, USA. Just call it it's a location. It's the Outer Rim.
Yeah, so that would make sense. Yeah, and also for people who don't know, and Stefan, it will be opening in both Disneyland and at the Disney's Hollywood Studios in Florida. So one of their other parks there.
Yeah, which is also getting Toy Story Land at the same time. So it's going from the worst. It's going to be like the worst of the Walt Disney World parks to the greatest.
Real quick. Yeah. Well, not real quick. In a few years. Yeah. But, I'm sure that they're going to open within a year of each other, I would think.
Oh, it's going to... Yeah, well, the thing is Universal Studios had been surpassing the numbers for Hollywood Studios in Florida, and Disney doesn't like that. So it no longer will be doing that. It's going to be Magic Kingdom, and then Hollywood Studios will be probably the second most. And everyone goes to Epcot in Florida, but whatever.
Yeah.
Epcot is not good anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that I never got to go when it was really good.
Yeah.
But they're going to, I guess, add in some Marvel stuff, supposedly rumors, but
well, that's what I learned to the Canadian Pavilion, like the Canadian Pavilion in Epcot. I was like, "Oh, okay. This is what every gift store is like in Vancouver." So this is like the representation of every country's gift store. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just, I don't know. People are all up in arms about Frozen too, being in Norway and stuff.
Even though it looks like such a good, just the technology they used in it, it looks really good.
Yeah, put rides anywhere. I don't care. Yeah, right?
Yeah, but... a lot of that, when I watched the ride through, I haven't been there since, it's been there, but I like watching the new ride throughs, no matter what ride it is, because I can see what they've been working on, what they're testing and different things like that. And I like looking through all the patents and stuff like that. I'll spend hours just searching through patent websites and on Google and stuff just for Disney, seeing what they're doing, see what they developed, and
they put some together. The trackless technology you would have read about and stuff like that. They're doing some interesting things for sure. I think one of the questions that people kind of Tomorrowland is in dire disrepair. It needs help, and I think that they have to move Star Tours out of there and put it in Star Wars Land, and then make Tomorrowland what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be Earth in the tomorrow, not outer space place. So, right? And so, so they need to do that. So they have to do that because it's not really that fun to be, it's cool and you're in Disneyland but it's just all Star Wars stuff everywhere. And then Buzz Lightyear. And then more Star Wars
Disneyland.
And Marvel guys, because I don't know, where else do you put them?
Yeah, and I did the Armchair Imagineers episode with Josh and Angie about that, the Tomorrowland after Star Wars Land, what's going to happen. And so, we came up with some good ideas. I don't know if they're still up on the thing.
Of course, if you go to Network 1901's podcast feed, Look for Modern Mouse Radio, and it will say Armchair Imagineering, and it'll say Josh Combs, and it'll be you.
Okay, so everyone who's listening to this, you heard him. Find it.
On iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean. If you go just Google Network 1901, the website will come up. All the links are there.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we kind of went over, what they could do with Tomorrowland, and there's a lot they could do. There's a lot, and not sure if they're gonna go Marvel with it at all, because they're opening up Marvel in
California Adventure.
So if they're not going to use an IP there, what are they going to do? But that could be that could be 2 episodes.
Well, So what do we know? What do we know about Star Wars Land so far?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's your show. Go ahead.
Well, the thing is that we both probably know a lot of the same stuff, but we probably know a few different things. But I know that one huge thing, of course, Scott Trowbridge, as I said before. So he started out working for Universal, and he worked on Spider-Man and The Mummy, and he did like most of the creative direction behind the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And
3 of Universal's best things, but
yeah, 3 of the top. I think 2 of them were voted the best attraction for years. Spider-Man was huge for years, and then Wizarding World, that the Forbidden Journey is
so him
amazing.
Being behind this is definitely a good thing.
Oh yeah, because basically what happened with Harry Potter, I heard this in a interview with like a ex-Imagineer, Bob Gurr. He said that I guess J.K. Rowling went to Disney and said, "Hey, I want to make this," and then they said, "Okay, cool," and then they gave her their ideas, and then it was like, "Okay, well, all right, later," pretty much, and it was like they didn't want her help on it. They just
so
wanted
silly. They must have known the relationship with her.
Exactly, that you would think, and then she was like, "All right, never mind then," and then basically walked down the street to Universal and was like, "Hey, can you make this land?" And they're like, "Yeah, you can help out," basically, in less words. But
no, that was probably exactly how the conversation went.
Right.
No, and it's true. They also passed on like the movies of it all.
Yeah,
it's all just Harry Potter was so perfect for them. How did they not see that?
Such a good Disney. Yeah, it would have been a really good Disney property.
So Star Wars Land, what's cool, right? You got 2 e-ticket attractions.
Yeah, you got two.
Those are the big ones, right?
Those are the big ones. Those are like Pirates, Splash, Space Mountain, things like that. So the first one, we have a Millennium Falcon ride.
Wow, so we know already.
We know some parts of it just from both the concept art, some videos, some interviews and stuff. They do it D23, Star Wars Celebration, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And it's personalized.
Yeah.
It is as close as possible to being your experience. Then we don't know how they're going to do that. No one, everyone kind of guessed, and it's like they're probably going to use this technology and stuff. I don't know, in the Harry Potter world, it is kind of like you and maybe 3 other people. So it is a pretty personal experience because you're not really seeing everybody while you're going through it. But
plus you have the little, there's kind of dividers up next to your face a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's
what people kind of think it'll be a Millennium Falcon version of that. But
yeah, so it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be like Star Tours where it's stationary. But I've looked through so many patents where I saw that there is Scott Trowbridge actually. Yeah. I'll look up his patents and stuff. I've been looking it up, and does a lot for the drone technology and all that. But he's also been doing stuff with the trackless vehicles.
Yep.
And also controlling trackless vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be some rider input, and also they developed patents for I guess it was an eye gaze stimulation sensor, so they can see where you're looking.
Yes.
And they can also, there's another one, they can see what your mood is. It's a facial recognition thing.
What?
So say if you're kind of bored, they'll jostle you around a little bit or something like that. Or they'll say your name.
Have you seen the new Pirates ride? in China.
It's amazing.
You got to show them because it's crazy. It's Pirates of the Caribbean like put to I don't know like 1 million. It's insane. Like it, and it totally feels like a pretty personal, unique experience. And I don't know how they do any of the stuff that I saw in those ride videos. Obviously, I haven't been to Shanghai.
And just the projection technology and how they change Jack Sparrow, from its skeleton to him. Like, Stefan, you're gonna be stoked when you see this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
crazy. So we have that. As
and then there's sorry.
And then do we know if the second?
It's like a stormtrooper battle.
Yeah, so on Mice Chat, which is it's a Disney website. It's like not owned by Disney, but it's like a Disney fan site. Where they say
it's a rumor site.
It's basically a rumor site. They have forums and all that stuff. But they kind of coined some of the names a little bit. So this one is called Battle Escape. They called it, but the code name is Alcatraz from Imagineering. It's code name Alcatraz.
Okay.
So that's going to be a trackless vehicle, and so you're going to be able to not be on a track, obviously.
So we're getting
this
is going to be
controlled.
some cutting edge stuff.
Oh, this is like next level. I saw this patent for moving screens, that moving projection screens.
Yeah.
That are basically the same size as the trackless vehicle, and they sense each other and move around each other.
What a trip.
Oh, cool.
So
cool.
It could be a very dark room, and then it'll project like a person or like a stormtrooper, and it'll come towards you really quickly.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, the difference between this attraction and the Millennium Falcon one is that this one's going to have over 150 animatronics.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's
crazy. And that's I think it's like 70 or 90 or something like that for Pirates.
Yeah.
Pirates
Yeah.
And but from this they say that it's going to be from, I think they said from like the smallest creature to the gargantuan. So we might see like huge like aliens or giant droids, or like maybe like an ATST.
You got to give a Rancor, right? Right. You got to do the King Kong Rancor.
Rancor.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, we have some fun toys around us all the time, and that's Todd. Todd the Rancor.
We're gonna do video casts eventually.
Yes.
How cool would it be if they could make it feel like you're getting sucked down like a Sarlacc pit? Like you could feel like the tongue pulling the vehicle or something.
Yeah.
Like you'd have that sensation.
So this ride also is going to be multi-leveled.
Yeah.
And you get out of the car at some point and get back on.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a bit of walkthrough, which, it's so funny. Disney was all going to be about walkthroughs. Like Pirates of the Caribbean was supposed to be a walkthrough. Haunted Mansion is half walkthrough. Like they really like, and that's where they made the lines the walkthroughs, right? Like the lines are part of the experience. So that's so cool that they're playing with that. I think there's like people are just at an age where they're really passionate about Disney, and now they're talented adults who are in Imagineering and are kind of they know what worked. Yeah,
and it's just amazing on what they did with the Wizarding World at Universal, seeing how they're definitely going to surpass that, because not only is it two companies that are rivals, it's the same guy that's going to want to up himself. When you're an artist, in that type of creative background, you always want to, you're your own rival, really. Every time you do something new, you want it to be way better than the next one
once you've reached the pinnacle
so
of your craft.
And some artists don't ever reach that until after, until they die. So it's that, people like this, they're going to keep on going and keep on making things. And he can take old things that they invented and things that are up on the shelf that, they have. Okay, one crazy thing, borderless Pepper's Ghost effects. So it's basically a spinning fan with mirrored blades, and it's spinning so fast that you can't see it. But there is a screen or a projector pointing at it at like a 45-degree angle. So it can look like a hologram in the middle of a room without there being a huge glass pane in the middle of it. That's insane. One thing. Yeah. So we might see an actual like hologram transmission.
Yeah. You're going to be so sad when you go. No, I'm kidding. No,
I know.
The thing is too is if you even just look at the work they did with the Hatbox Ghost on the Haunted Mansion ride, it looks phenomenal. They like match the tone perfectly, but you can tell it's such a great technology that they're using.
Oh yeah. It's so long to like figure it out. Like I'd looked it up and I'd gone on that.
They've been trying to figure out how to put that character in that show for ever since it opened.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, since whatever, 60, 69, 68.
Yeah, Josh is best with the actual dates than I am.
Yeah. I used to be pretty good with that too, but
he's kind of our Disneyland historian.
Usually with this show, a lot of my memory goes.
Yeah. So those are our two big boys. Do we know anything about anything else so far? Or is it all kind of?
Yeah, you're gonna get to drink alcohol.
Yeah, there's alcohol there.
Which is so people think now that means that you're going to be able to drink alcohol throughout the Magic Kingdom, because unless they're going to have bouncers.
This is very controversial.
Yeah, because they do it at California Adventure. You can walk around with it.
Yeah.
But it's like, are you going to have to like leave it at that area? Or are they going to serve it just in glasses?
I think they're going to just commit to the fact that people are allowed to drink at Disneyland.
They might as well, because I bet that's going to take in so many more people. They were releasing that was that California Adventure only season pass for locals down here in Southern California and stuff. So that some people are going because they're like, oh, California Adventure is the adult park, and then Disneyland is the kids park.
Well, they've got like food and wine festivals and stuff in California Adventure, and they have like Italian restaurants and stuff like that. So if you want to mix your fun,
Okay.
Yeah. So I also have this mice chat. I'm just going to read this quickly, Stefan, so I show you what.
And there's a couple restaurants. Yeah, there's a few restaurants. There's going to be, so like cast members are going to be walking around, like there's going to be droids, mouse droids, like driving around.
Yeah,
there's going to be fully there's aliens, Twi'leks, and things like that are going to be walking around.
Yes, so it's like a Renaissance fair. Like they're saying it's like on this says it's more like a Renaissance fair, or like a dinner theater type thing in some of those areas than just like a little quick service thing or and it's going to be huge. And I guess there's going to be interactive characters, so interactive droids all over that they'll probably be stationary, but you can go up and they'll read a sensor, and I think it's through like RFID tags, and I'm not sure what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to do the Magic Band or what with Disneyland, but
Disneyland's been leaning towards the app, so
yeah. But I'm trying to figure out how they're going to monitor the RFID chips, because that's also in one of Scott Trowbridge's patents for priority ride queuing.
Yeah.
No line.
Yeah.
It's all
which they're starting with Jimmy Fallon in Universal Studios. So Jimmy Fallon's like Race Through New York is a ride that's being made in Universal. It's almost coming out soon, and it is going to be the first lineless ride.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I guess that you're going to go into like a themed area. So like say you go in and then you can walk around and check out things like, and there's going to be video screens or whatever. And then your buzzer will go off and it's like, okay, it's my turn. So then you go to the next room and then you board the vehicle or whatever,
Right.
So
and then
you're going to be able to walk around the park. You're just going to be able to, you can be able to walk around the park and stuff too. They said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're at like a restaurant and they give you that disc and you get buzzed.
Sweet.
Star Wars Land is going to be insane. Like it's going to be so immersive. I think eventually they're going to turn it into a half ticket, like a half gate.
You think? Where do you think?
How else do you control the alcohol? Like I just don't see how you control unless you only are serving alcohol at the restaurants, the sit down restaurants that they're going to have.
Yeah.
but that would be weird, and that wouldn't make sense, and that's leaving a lot of money on the table. And I don't think, Disney grew up in a period of time, and I think that the more comfortable we become with alcohol, the more normalized it gets. Sure, it probably increases the amount of people who abuse it and stuff like that, but for the general population, I think the idea of feeling normal and it being okay to have a beer and that doesn't mean anything is important. And so I think a lot of people kind of feel that way, and I don't think Disney thinks it'll hurt their sales, so why not sell alcohol? Even though like a guy who died said that he didn't want it one time. Like, that's
they don't want to get sued again.
You know what the thing is that people, Disneyland fans especially, fight tooth and nail about not changing anything about Disneyland. But the man himself said it will never be finished. You have to keep moving forward. And they get so passionate about it, and I love it. But you can't revere a guy. Well, you can't revere a guy and not listen to any of his words. And I know,
yeah,
but that's,
no, I got it.
I'm not making a metaphor for Jesus, everybody. But
we're reading the red letters between the lines.
Yeah. But no, for real. Like, we revere this guy and we respect so much that he did. We even overlooked some of the bad stuff he did for it. And, okay, then listen to what he said. He said, keep changing the park. This park, the Disneyland park isn't even anything like it was first built. Are we supposed to make it like I was first, have like horse carriage rides and stuff and like a rolling rock that goes back and forth? Come on, give me a break.
Yeah, it's really funny. And then it's, that same thing with the Tower of Terror. That's Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Sweet. And I'm stoked for it, to be honest with you. I'm super stoked.
Well, why not? I don't care about the Twilight Zone.
See, the cool thing about that was
Marvel. I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
And we know that they're gonna do it better. They're gonna do it better than they did Tower of Terror, just because of the technology they have now and the theming that they're able to do. And plus, it's going through the collector's museum. Yeah, you're gonna see so many little Easter eggs just walking through and figuring stuff out.
Yeah, and it was made in 1990. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, and I guess it's not even close to the one in Hollywood Studios, the one that's staying.
No, that one, because it's so good. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a really good immersive ride. When I went to my first experience on Tower of Terror was at Disney World, and so when I went to the Disneyland one, I was like, what? What did I just wait for? This is terrible. This is not anything like the ride that I went on before. It's not nearly as good. And so, whatever. I'm going to get to walk through a cool Marvel museum thing, and then I get to drop still. I don't really know what...
There's going to be some projection effects as well.
Yeah, which they have in the universe.
During the drop, there might be some type of projection.
Cool, like ships, right? Oh, yeah. That's cool, yeah.
I saw a patent for that.
Oh, well, who doesn't want that?
Yep, that'd be amazing.
No, please give me the Steve Guttenberg video. Come on.
So before we close out here, as massive Star Wars and Disney nerds, what would you guys like to see out of Star Wars Land? Whether it's a ride or some sort of attraction, what's one idea or just one even little maybe creature or character you'd like to see featured in a ride?
Do you want me to go first?
Go for it, Dale.
Okay. I would like to have a hotel attached to Star Wars Land. So that's what I'd like. I want to be able to sleep and wake up in Star Wars.
Just sit and just marinate in Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I want with Harry Potter. Like Harry Potter World, please create me a Hogwarts hotel. Right? Who doesn't want to go to Hogwarts Hotel?
Take out the shirt, and we don't need that.
Yeah, you know what? I don't need moving stairs. I get it. That's probably pretty difficult and dangerous. Okay, or you'd have to line up for the stairs because they're gonna move every 15 minutes or something, and that kind of takes away the fun of it. I don't need that. But just let me stay in Hogwarts. Let me,
theming, a little bit of wallpaper.
Could you imagine if you're like, are we gonna stay in Gryffindor Tower this week, or are we gonna stay in the dungeons that the Slytherins got? Yay!
It would be kind of weird to have a talking portrait in your room, though.
But that would be cool. Like, yeah, like to have your room, like your key card. Your key card just like says like your word, and they give you a new key card every day or something like that.
That'd be awesome.
Or whatever. Just like little things like that. You just you make it for real people and not you can't be too immersive. So yeah, that would be my thing, is a Star Wars version of that.
A little Naboo palette to go into at the end of the day.
Yeah, or you have like an economy area where you can like stay in like Tatooine bunks. Like you could have like a communal like hostel, I guess, like a Tatooine hostel.
or maybe a Hoth stole.
Oh, I like the pun, but it would be far too cold, so that's not. Yeah, you definitely have to go at least like Hoth igloos, but good pun. But logically, I reject it.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, shoot it before we close out.
There's so many things that I want, and a lot of them are being delivered, I feel like. I really want to see some aerial battles. I know that they have a lot of stuff going on with drones and projection screens on drones and projectors on drones and all this crazy stuff. And then also special effects that they drop from drones. So they're going to be doing fireworks and stuff from the air instead of shooting them up. But I think that maybe every night or so, or maybe weekends, whatever, they'll have a nice space battle in the sky above you.
Totally.
And
like a fireworks show. Yeah. Or Phantasmic.
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be like Phantasmic in the air.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So it could be a nightly thing. And it's far enough out of the way that you wouldn't even see it from the other side. You could do the fireworks show right after, just like they do it on, with Phantasmic.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens with that when that comes back, too.
And you could even have variations. Like you could get enough drones together and with lights. I'm not saying this would be cheap. I'm just saying it is possible to have a Death Star like come like to slowly like get bigger and come towards and like hover over like the town and stuff like that. That would be a cool experience to see, right?
That would be amazing.
And then it can blow up and the drones, turn to reds and yellows and look like an explosion as they fly away. Like they can do these things now. It's not, X-Wing, like obviously like drone X-Wing fighters and stuff like that. And the only thing is with drones though, is you got to be a little far away. Cause I kind of feel like the drone, like that's kind of ruins the mood.
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought. It's gotta be far away and they've got to be pretty big.
Yeah.
Because they're all, there's the little flixels, the flying pixels that they just use at the
flixels.
Yeah.
Well, Disney just got approval for more space above Disneyland, more sky above Disneyland, and Disney World. I think.
Interesting.
I think they got approval to have certain things because like Cinderella's castle in Walt Disney World is built to the exact the maximum spec you can build a building without having a light to put on it as an antenna.
Yeah.
So that height is a problem with Disney. So I think they did get approval for more height above them for the drones and stuff like that. So they were also worried about the sound.
Yeah. And also another thing that I want to see there, which I was kind of confused about at first, but I'm kind of excited about it. In the concept art, we see both things from the Galactic Civil War and the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm. And
it's weird that there are stormtroopers in the costumes from the Galactic Civil War.
Yeah.
And there's an Imperial landing craft. I know it's concept art, but with Disney, that coming out so late and them showing that all off at D23, I either want this to happen or I think this is going to happen, but there will be two different sections based on the time, like the era.
Okay.
So we can visit both the Galactic Civil War and the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
It would be hard to do thematically, but as far as the concept art goes, it's there. So
That'd be cool.
I kind of feel like at least with the stormtroopers, we've accepted the new look. Like, I think it's so perfect and such a slight adjustment that they could just use the normal stormtroopers and stuff. And the logos are so similar, and I feel like it's just a better call to just move to the current one, even though like it's not really there's not really a timeline for us. It shouldn't matter. Yeah. But like I don't want I don't want to see stormtroopers all around me and then go do the ride and they're different stormtroopers. So I want them to pick one. I don't care what they do. I want them to pick an era, and kind of like I want it to be consistent more than I want it to be either new or old.
Mm-hmm. You'd have to go new trilogy. Just push it forward.
And this, especially because it's coming out the same year as 9, and we're really not sure what's happening after 9. Yeah. And if they're going to create a new story with this land to make up for a third, or I guess fourth trilogy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if the story that they're going to be telling with this land is going to be worth 3 movies, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do from 9 and after, but it's interesting that this is opening right at the end of the sequel trilogy.
You don't need Star Wars Land to be right on par with current Star Wars, though. Like, like Mission Breakout isn't going to have to be completely up to date to all of the, of anything. Splash Mountain doesn't need to be up to date with racism. So, like it doesn't matter. It's crazy. Anytime I think about Splash Mountain, the fact that it was made in the 80s, it really confuses me because I'm always like, this wasn't one of the first attractions. Like, it was made, what? Like, I don't understand.
The weird thing about Splash Mountain is that no one had any problem with that movie until, what's the movie called? It's blanking me.
You mean with, sorry, I know. I've got
Splash Mountain.
No, a friend one time was in like a bar trivia and they text me and they were like, "Hey, what's the movie Splash Mountain's based off of?" And I told them immediately, but I'm not telling you immediately now.
I know.
It's some movie.
Oh, sorry, Songs of the South.
Songs of the South. There you go. So Song of the South, I guess no one really had too much of a problem with it until Splash Mountain, because apparently they had been re-releasing it in theaters up until like 83.
Well, everyone forgot about it and was like, whatever. And then everyone went and started like watching it again and we're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And Disney was criticized at the time, though. He was criticized at the time. It's just he got criticized and then everyone forgot.
Yeah, and I know like his, not his excuse, but his reasoning for doing things like that is that he was kind of giving a view into that era, I guess. He was trying to break down barriers. Yeah, like he was trying to do those things. He's trying to make people feel comfortable. And the thing is that it's hard to talk about, like, it's hard to deal with any time in America's history when there were slaves and to make it also like a good story. Like, not a lot of great things were happening for people around that time except for like a really select few. Like lie about their vocabulary and how if people didn't.
But they kind of make they
just a certain way.
Yeah, it was post-slavery. Like the whole setting though was like it was post-slavery, and he was kind of he was criticized. Disney was criticized. People forgot, and now everyone they don't do
Splash Mountain.
Yeah, now there's no merchandise for Splash Mountain.
Yeah, that's sad. But you know what?
It won't happen with Star Wars, even though Star Wars is probably just as racist.
Probably, it's on the Empire end, the First Order end, they are very racist.
Yep,
they're all white, and none of them are aliens.
Well, they're not white.
What?
Finn's black.
Well, all the officers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're just pawns.
Yeah.
So I went in knowing nothing. My idea was Millennium Falcon ride, which apparently we're getting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've been quiet the last couple of minutes here because I was trying to come up with something cool, but I'm gonna have to do that in my own time. So as long as I get a sweet animatronic Rancor, I will be a happy.
I know, no, I now ruined it for you, Josh.
I know.
So with that, Dale, thank you so much for your time. We have discovered Dale Wentland.
Yeah, thanks for letting me take over your show for a period of time. I'm sorry, I tend to do that.
Oh, that's why you're here.
Yeah, that's why you're here. So, Josh, you want to plug us out here?
Yeah.
And everybody check out all Dale's stuff. He does lots of great work.
Yeah, Dale, why don't you just go ahead and tell us all your stuff a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. No, the easiest way is network1901.com because all the links are there. And the site's really nice and clean, so we won't bog you down on like a on a blog spot or whatever. And WordPress. And at net, we have YouTube 3 shows a week. Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar is always our focus. Disney Culture Club talks about Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar every single episode. And Modern Mouse Radio and our Friday rotating show. It's experimental and you can try it and it's nice. And you just have to subscribe to one podcast feed, Network 1901, and you get a lot of different shows about stuff you would like without having to try to search for it all the time. So that was kind of our goal behind it.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited.
Thanks for having me. I loved it. I had a great time.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
We'll have to have you in on a theory crafting episode for
Yeah.
sure. We'll get our other co-host and maybe take a weekend day or something, and we can. I mean, that episode could go for a long time. I have a feeling. Yeah. But all right, Josh, take us out, bud.
Thank you everyone for listening to Star Wars After Hours. Sorry we had a few audio issues, but our guest, Mr. Dale Wentland of Network 1901, had our back, and he recorded on his end as well. So thank you, Dale. Check us out on social media and talk to us and ask us questions. We'll talk about it on the show. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/Star Wars After Hours Podcast. We're on Twitter at SW After Hours. We're on Instagram at Star Wars After Hours. You can also find us on SoundCloud, YouTube, and iTunes under Star Wars After Hours. We also have a Indiegogo campaign going right now to help us out with our better equipment so we don't have any technical issues anymore. So check that out. The link will be in the description as well as our social media sites. So go ahead and check that out, and thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you next Wednesday on Star Wars After Hours.
He's no good to me dead.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
You know what's going on?